All right, so here's how I started my business from scratch, right? Like from the very beginning, and how I was able to accumulate over 100K in business credit. This is what I did. First things first, I did a name search with my state to make sure that the name I was choosing for my business was not taken. So that's the very first thing I did, was a name search. If you're struggling with coming up with a name for your business, you can always do like a free name generator, but just make sure that the name that you're choosing, you're not naming it after your industry. So if you're in trucking, you don't want to name it like ABC Trucking. Try to keep it very generic, Solutions, Enterprises, something like that. Start looking at addresses for your business. Remember, if you don't have a physical location for your business, which means you don't have an office space, you don't have a restaurant, you're going to want to get a virtual office space that is compliant. So when you Google that virtual office space, an actual office building needs to pop up in Google Maps, okay? Now, if you are in a state that makes you get a registered agent, you can actually use the registered agent's address. Just make sure that, again, it's associated with an actual office building. Okay, so once I did that and I was an official business, my business is now a registered LLC, S Corp, or C Corp. I, of course, got my EIN number, made sure that the EIN number was associated with a low-risk industry. So if, let's say, I was in credit repair, I would choose education as my business industry because it's low risk. I then started the process of creating an online presence for my business so that my business could be found and my business could be visible to the public, right? How I did this, I created a Google business profile. I made sure that I had an 800 number for my business just because it looks a lot better than just having like an area code number for your business. I immediately opened up a business bank account because your business is only as old as the day you open up your business bank account. So that was literally one of the first things that I did. Made sure that I had deposits going into my account, a minimum of 10 every single month. Once my online presence was created, and I had all of that stuff together, then I started to create a history of payment. I got my DUNS number, which is almost like a social security number for your business. Some people say your EIN number is like a social, but in my opinion, it's more so the DUNS number. So that's something you can get for free at dmb.com. But the DUNS number is something that you're going to want to have for your business, especially when you are trying to get funding and build business credit. So once I started establishing a history of payment, which means I started putting bills under my business name, I started adding trade lines to my business credit report. I have a video on this, but the reason business credit is one of the reasons it's so important is because it's giving your business a history of payment. So once I had all of those things together and my business was compliant, I was paying those business bills on time. Actually, I was paying them early, like 10 to 15 days early. I literally added like as many trade lines as I could. And once I kept them and I started paying them, I started getting more and more and accumulating more business trade lines and start paying them early, like I already said. Then I started seeking out lenders that were specific to my industry because every lender does not lend to every single industry. So I started applying for grants the right way. I started seeing what was available, the SBA, CDFI lenders who are willing to lend to businesses that do have a low credit score. And I just kept going up from there. So just so you know, it is very possible for you to build over 100K in business credit or business funding. Always remember that there are different types of lenders. So just because you don't qualify for one type of funding, like you may not qualify for loans right now, that does not disqualify you from grants. It does not disqualify you from CDFI lenders. Do your due diligence, or you can click the link in my bio if you need help, but you definitely want to start solidifying and building a solid business profile right now, because a solid business profile is going to be your foundation. You cannot build a house with a shaky foundation. So that is, in short, how I did it.